Shalom, I'm Moreh Matan, and welcome to this week's Moreh Minute. This week our Torah portion is Noach, the familiar story of Noah, the Ark, and the Great Flood. It's most definitely one of the most popular stories that we tell our children, and they love it probably because of the animals, of them going 2 by 2, and of them having a great adventure in a boat. But if we go deeper, we see that there is a lot more going on in this story. The Torah says that Noah was righteous in his generation and that he walked with God. But these are two statements that, while on the surface they can seem positive, the ancient sages of Israel in the Midrash give us a different perspective on these statements. In fact, they are less than desirable when we go beneath the surface. About Noah being righteous, the qualifier is used in his generation. The sages of Israel tell us that if he lived in another generation, perhaps he would not have been viewed as righteous as he was in his own. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, in his commentary series called Covenant and Conversation, brings up some amazing points from the Midrash. It says not only was Noah looked at as righteous in his generation with that qualifier, but that saying that Noah walked with God is not necessarily complimentary. I'll explain that in a moment. Rabbi Sacks asks us the pointed question, what does Noah say when God said he's going to destroy the earth with a flood? What did Noah say when God told him to build the ark? Or when he said to gather the animals? Or when he told Noah to get in the ark? What did Noah say? Rabbi Sacks points out Noah said nothing. He just acted in silent obedience. Especially for us that come from a church background like myself, this seems like a desirable response, just silent obedience. But that is not the Jewish way. In fact, the Midrash asks the question, what if Abraham had been in Noah's shoes when God said he was going to destroy the earth? Remember, Abraham is the one who fought a war to save his nephew Lot. Abraham is the one that says to God very boldly, will the judge of the earth not do justice? If there is one word that we can use to describe Noah's response, it's that he is passive. He silently obeys, does everything that God says, but he does not give a response to God. Remember what Abraham said. Would you destroy the city if there were only a few righteous people in it? The Midrash points out that if Abraham was in Noah's shoes, maybe he would have failed to try to change God's mind or to get him to spare humanity for a few righteous people. He might have failed, but at least he would have tried. The rabbis point out that Noah didn't even try, but rather only saved himself and his family. Now, it might bother us to hear such a negative report about Noah. After all, isn't he a hero for saving himself and his family? And didn't he try to save others? This is where we get to the idea of walking with God. Rabbi Yehuda tells a parable about a king that has 2 sons, one who is grown and one who is a child. To the child he says, walk with me. But to the son that is grown, he says, walk before me. That is exactly what God said to Abraham. Because you are wholehearted, walk before me. So walking with God in this context is almost looked at as negative. Noah sends out the raven and then sends out the dove. He waits 7 days and sends it out again and again. He only exits the ark when God tells him to. Rabbi Yehuda in Midrash Tanhuma says, if he was there, he would have broken out of the ark himself. Rabbi Sacks points out that when the world is broken and destroyed, you do not wait for permission to start repairing it. What a wonderful point. Our own beloved Rabbi Shapira, does not like passivity. And this is why. We are to take an active role in Tikkun Olam, in repairing this broken and fallen world. We don't wait for permission. If someone needs help, if the world needs repairing, we need to be active and not sitting on the sidelines. If you'd like to learn with me in my Kosher Pastor program, you can go to kosherpastor.com. We are still bundling all 7 courses, including 3 filmed on location in Israel for just $400. Once again, go to kosherpastor.com if you'd like more information or to find the link where you sign up, or if you'd like to go to the full yeshiva where I graduated at this time last year, go to shuvu.tv for a multi-year discipleship program where you can actually become ordained in Messianic Judaism, as I have, as a Moreh Torah, or if you're a woman, as a Morah Torah, a Bible teacher. Thank you for joining me here today. Be active this week. Do not be passive. Take the reins and take a stand. Shalom and Kol Tuv.